morning, everybody. We're going out on the Ongava Game Reserve to explore and see what we can find. Anything from antelope to lions, rhinos. This morning is going to be all about exploring, seeing what we can find. We'll stop, we'll view anything we'll find and talk more about it.
Right, a great start already. Just right from the camp, the first opening, the first plains, we got some zebras right here, which are the plain zebras. We have two different species of zebras here in the reserve, which is the plain zebras that you see here, also known as the Brussels zebras, and the other species would be the Hartmann's mountain zebra. So starting off with the difference between the two species, as you can see, these ones that you see here are the plain zebras, and the difference is that if you look at the legs of the plain zebras, they are more white compared to the mountain zebra. Mountain zebras have thicker black and white lines, so the black lines of the mountain zebra are actually more pronounced. So from a distance, if you get to see a mountain zebra, they have more darker legs compared to the plain zebras. The other difference is that the plain zebras, as you can see this zebra right here, the black lines coming from the back, from the backbone, goes right through down. They connect at the belly. And the mountain zebras have more of a white belly. So what you guys see here is that it's early morning. What they usually do in the night is they go up in open plains like this. Most of the plain animals like springbok, zebras, oryx, and so on would, for safety reasons, would sleep just in the middle of the plains, just for safety reasons. This just gives them a high chance of seeing when danger is approaching. And also you will see that they like to mix up, like zebras are known to stay mostly with the blue wildebeest. This is for a couple of reasons, like for safety in numbers. You know, if you are alone, the chances of you getting killed is high because you will be the only target. Alright guys, so that was a great start, great sighting. Thanks to these guys to allowed us to talk about them. Very relaxed, so we'll just leave them to do and go on with their normal activities. We'll just proceed and see what we can find further.
Oh, beautiful. You can see the mother and the calf. Wow. What you can notice already is that these are white rhinos. Just by looking at the body shape, but especially the mouth part. You can see that very flat square compared to the black rhino. Actually, they just moved out of into the underbrush, covered now. But what happened was the calf left first, almost like she's in front, and that's typical of the white rhino. Is the calf always leads the mother. You can just see her front end of her head. White rhinos have much longer front horns and a shorter back horn compared to the black rhino, which have almost equally length horns. They also have the white rhinos have a longer head or skull, which is quite lower or held lower to the ground, which makes it easier for them to graze. And as she's grazing, they normally feed, taking grass off in an arc. It's believed that these rhinos have evolved on the African continent, hence the fact that they've got the longer skull, the flattened mouth part, moved out onto the open African plains. So a lot of places where they defecate, you find that that could be a midden, and middens are a great place for interactions, not only physical interactions with them all being there, but just the scent that's left there for others to come and investigate and see who was there. So with these middens, sometimes leading up to water holes, it's a great place also for the male to come and check the status of any female, follows them, and then also stays with that female once she's in heat, if he gets that scent. Behind me we've got the majestic giraffe, two big bulls. Of course, why I'm saying they're males is I can see that they're slightly darker. The spots on their bodies are slightly darker. And if you also have a closer look, their horns are thicker. And the one on the left hand side, you can see actually both of them, it seems that their left ossicone or horn is worn down, and it means that males fight a lot, and over time that kind of wears down the horns. These are the tallest mammals, and perfectly adapted to browse and forage on the top sections of the trees, getting all the nutrient-rich leaves. You'll see the giraffes using their tongue. It's almost a 40 centimeter long tongue, which is prehensile. It comes out, grabs whatever it selects, pulls it into its mouth. And of course they love acacias. The giraffe has got very viscous saliva, and this helps the spines glide off of its tongue, so it can accurately select the leaves and pull it in. It seems that they've had a little bit of what they needed and now moving off, not spending too much time, as they can sense that the tannin levels are rising. Keep an eye on him. We'll then just try to make our way there. Over. We've just come across a bull elephant. It's really exciting. It seems like he's relaxed. Might cross the road if we're lucky. Oh, look at that. Those tusks are a little bit worn down, but that's pretty much what happens with elephants that live in this area, is that it's quite harsh and dry. Also not a lot of nutrient-rich food, and some minerals lacking, which makes the tusk brittle and they wear off. These guys can grow, on shoulder height, almost to about 3 meters. You also see the color is caused by the mud on the reserve, and mud is also used to cool the skin when they're out in the midday sun. But he's been feeding probably the most of the night into the early morning hours, slowly heading to some sort of a water source. But very relaxed. Those big ears are also used as a temperature regulator, almost like a vehicle's radiator. If you see them flapping their ears, this means that he's doing what he does best, is cooling himself off. Sometimes if you get a glance behind the ear, you'll see the lining of those big blood vessels that actually circulates almost all the blood in its body.
Hi guys, we just stopped for a very beautiful bird here called the lilac-breasted roller. So normally We actually have two different species of rollers in this region. The lilac-breasted roller, which is the one we have right now, and the purple roller. These guys feed mostly on insects, butterflies, and all different types of insects. And occasionally, there has been records of them also feeding on small or baby birds, like helpless birds and so on. And yeah, so I actually have a funny story about them. Just some traditional beliefs is that not the lilac-breasted roller, but the purple roller is traditionally, if they fly in front of ladies making a quacking sound, it is believed that one of the ladies are pregnant and she's keeping it as a secret. So yeah, if for one day you see a purple roller flying in front of your girlfriend, should be very suspicious. Hey? We have a big elephant bull here that you see. He's just feeding, slightly heading towards the watering hole. So what happens is that these guys are highly dependent on water. So what they do is for almost over 20 hours, they would be feeding. And as you can see, the temperatures are now starting, it's around about close to 10 o'clock. The temperatures are now heating up. So slightly feeding slowly, they would head towards the watering hole. If you look at the forehead, the males have more of a round forehead compared to the females. The females are more, the forehead is more pointed, almost like a 90-degree angle. Females are much more smaller in size. Then you can see he only has one tusk. The tusk of the male is much more longer and thicker compared to the females. Females have more thinner and shorter tusks. These guys feed for over 20 hours just feeding. And this is because their digestive system is not very good. From what they feed, almost some like plus minus 30 to 35% get digested. These guys have a very, very important role in the ecosystem. So even when they eat like that, when they poo, it fertiles the soil, and you will see them a lot of times breaking trees and so on. It is, although you might think it's deforestation, I think it's very important that they do that, because the more they break big trees, the more it will give them the grass to grow. Just minimizes the competition of light with the grass. I'm not saying they should break down all the big trees.
What a great end to a wonderful day. And just tune in tomorrow for another adventure. So take care and hope to see you soon.